Gore for lore. Watching lore for lore. Get caught up in Woklamat's unstoppable wake reminds me of my younger days. So remember, long has it been since any from Chiwarger Sultan have deigned to enter Warlar's Echo. A day for unusual visitors indeed. Woklamat, right, time to track down the next elector. Kryl, a heavenly land suffused with a golden glow. Alizé, what a turn of events. We were only meant to strengthen the ice, but Bukul charges idiocy forced us to do them one better. Alphano. With only 2 keystones remaining, we've at last begun to gain a fuller picture of the legend of the Golden City, Erenville. The promise of peace. Erenville would propose a course of action. Erenville, I think it's time we return to Tuliyollal. After scaling Tural's tallest mountain and battling a legendary beast to death, even dauntless heroes like you could probably use a rest. In any case, there are preparations to be made before we can visit the next destination laid out in the saga. Alphino, the respite would be most welcome. I believe I hear the forward cabins calling our names. Alphino. Yawn. I won't say no to clean sheets and a soft pillow. Alizé, there are still 2 feats left to go. We want to face them refreshed and ready for action. Kryl. No sooner did we set foot back in Tuliyollal than I felt the weight of recent events set in all at once. I'm definitely due for a long nap. Woklamat. I'll take the opportunity to think on some things. Bishekwa, welcome back to Tuliyollal. Your cabins are waiting for you. Erenville. Rest well, everyone. We can meet back here later on. I have a small errand to run in the city, so I'll leave you to recover. Will you be heading to the palace, Woklamat? Woklamat, did you hear me? Lost in her own little world, it seems. Well, no matter. I'll be back soon enough. Bishekwa, an attendant is standing by to unlock your cabin. Enjoy your stay. The rite of succession must be an absolutely exhausting endeavor. The comforts of our cabins are at your disposal whenever you wish to retire, madam. Woklamat, the best way I know. Cabin attendants. Welcome back, Mistress Valkyrie. Your cabin is just as you left it, minus a light layer of dust.
You have a moment? There's something I wanted to talk to you about. So, Ah! It's just too stuffy in here, that's what. We should go outside. Aye, a nice walk in the fresh air, that's what we need.
Uklama. Sorry to drag you away from your nice comfortable inn, but I could feel the walls closing in. Oh, I know. I'll take you to one of my favorite places in Tuliolo. That should help me get my thoughts in order. We'll go to the resplendent quarter and make our way up from there. Peshiwa. Oh, hello, dear. You're one of Wuklamat's new friends? Wuklamat. Peshiwa. What are you doing up and about? Is your back feeling better? Peshiwa. It's much healed now, so don't make a fuss. Besides, I can't be lunging around in bed all day when you're out there fighting your hardest to win the throne. You're the claimant with the greatest love for peace. I love this nation of ours, and lending you my support is the least I can do. Uklamat, when I see you smile like that, how can I not be encouraged? Peshiwa, oh ho ho, there's plenty more who believe in your cause. I can recruit a whole battalion of smiling faces if you think it'll help. Uklamat, yours alone is more than enough. Thank you, Peshiwa. Peshiwa, and thank you, Third Promise. I shall pray for your success in the contest. Uklama, all those smiling faces. Ah, sorry Evray, I'm getting distracted. It's just that with the progress we've made in the contest, even these everyday encounters feel that much more special. Do you think we can take our time and maybe wander around a little first? Then we can head to the spot, that spot I was thinking of.
This is much better. I used to come here all the time when I was little. Would look out over the whole city, and whatever worries I had would seem so small. Do you remember what I said at the top of Workor Zormor? That I would fight to preserve Papa's peaceful Tural? Well, I've been thinking a lot since then. About what peace really means. If it's just the absence of war. And it brought to mind all the best parts of our journey so far.
Literally 1 minute ago.
I realized nothing gives me greater joy than the happiness of others. Life has its ups and downs, but the company of family and friends and the music of their laughter is what makes it worth living. And as silly as it might sound, I've come to believe that those smiling faces are the best measure of peace.
What will you say? That's the sort of thing I'd expect you to say. You wish for a world like in the Yokui's dream. Ideals are nice in theory. That's the sort of thing I'd expect you to say.
Really? I feel proud somehow. It's an answer I arrived at by trying to be true to myself. That you think I succeeded, it means a lot. So, this is my plan. When I become Dawn Servant, I'll build on Papa's peace. Our people will live together in happiness. It's just like Kryl said. By taking the time to hear their concerns, understand their feelings, and consider how best to serve, with each passing day, I'll be that much closer to becoming the leader I want to be. It's hard for me to say how much I've changed since the contest began. But there's one thing I can say with confidence. I wouldn't have come this far without you as allies. If it wasn't for you all listening and feeling and thinking along with me, I would have never learned so much, and in so short a time. There are 2 keystones left. After everything that's happened, and imagining what could happen, are you still willing to walk this path with me? Thank the gods for that. Well, I've nothing else to get off my chest. I need to head to the palace, but I'll see you back at the cabins.
Damn. Alphina, you look to be in good spirits. I assume your leisure time was well spent. I was glad to snatch some quality sleep myself. After all, it will soon be back to the road for us. Hey, 94. The leap to Yuktel. Alphino seems eager to review your journey thus far. 663. Almost. I'm sure the others will be along shortly. I do hope everyone has rested well. Now that we have refreshed ourselves somewhat, let us consider all claimants as they currently stand. Zoralja and Kona have completed every feat thus far and hold 5 keystones apiece. Uklamat would be equal with them but for Bakul Judge's thievery, which has left us 1 short. Alizé, that conniving braggart, didn't so much as lift a finger for the feat of proof and wreaked havoc for the feat of ice. He can't have more than 3 keystones at most. Wuklamat. He may think he can simply steal what he needs to win, but he's sorely mistaken. I will be taking back what is mine, this I swear. Alphino, I fear that reclaiming your keystone may not be enough. That is, if Bakul Judge's unleashing of Aligarmanda is any indication. Using his lead, I anticipate that he will move to obtain the remaining keystones before disrupting his rival's attempts. We may all find ourselves being forced to take from one another. Uklamat, I can't say I'd be comfortable with that. But neither will I surrender my claim to the throne so easily. If it's for the sake of preserving the happiness of my people, I'll do what I must. Bill, the last 2 keystones we require are those of the Lay of Repast and the Lay of the Brotherhood. The former depicts the cessation of hostilities between the Mamulja and the Jibral in the forests of Yaktal, specifically near a village called Ikraj. Lay of Repast and Lay of Brotherhood. So the Lay of Repast depicts the cessation of hostilities between the Mamulja and the Jibral. Chibral. I think that's Rothgar? In the forests of Yaktel, specifically near a village called Ikbraj. Buklamat. That's where I was born, if you recall. I haven't been back there since Papa took me in when I was a baby. Ernville. Where the Lay of Brotherhood takes place, however, is unclear. In the saga, it is said that a foreign explorer came seeking an audience with the Dawn Servant, but little more than that. Alphino. Eorzea has a similar tale. The explorer Ketenram befriended a two-headed king known as the Autarch before commencing his travels across Tural. He journeyed here several times afterwards, but was ultimately lost at sea. At least that is the commonly held belief. Wuklamat. Your two-headed king certainly sounds like Papa, so this Ketenram fellow must have come to Tuliyollal. Erenville. But if he indeed arrived some 80 years ago, the capital may not have been built yet, vestiges of Yokui architecture notwithstanding. Wait, you said Autarch, didn't you? Then Ketenram must have met the Dawn Servant in Mamuk. Kryl. Mamuk? Is that a city? Erenville. One of the grandest in Tural, once upon a time, and the seat of the Mamulja's homeland. It too lies in Yaktel, not far from Ikbraj. Alizé. Then all things considered, Yaktel seems the obvious choice for our next destination. Erenville. From here, the safest method of travel is by dirigible. We should make for the landing once our preparations are complete. Wuklamat. We're riding in one of Kona's balloons? They can't be any worse than ships, can they? Buklamat. It'll be fine. Just fine. Alphino. How exciting. The design of Turali dirigibles intrigues me. I must note how they perform compared to Eorzean airships. Alizé. For as much as I wish we could ignore him, Bakul Jaja is a real threat. We can't afford to let our guard down. Kryl. Yaktel, where the Yokui dreamt of the Golden City. Erenville. Ready to leave when you are. Dirigible attendant. The next flight to Yaktel will be leaving shortly. Passengers are asked to keep hands, legs and luggage inside the dirigible at all times. Wuklamat. But are we sure that thing will stay in the air all the way to Yaktel? Are you ready? Bags packed and goodbyes said? There's no going back once we lift off. No, not that I'm nervous or anything. I'm just making sure that you're not nervous. Oh, who am I kidding? My knees won't stop shaking. Hey, will you hold my hand? Just until I've settled my nerves? Maybe ask Garenville. Yeah, maybe ask Garenville. That stick in the mud, he'd never let me live it down. Ma Blue. There she is. Third promise. Wait just a moment. Ah. Wuklamat. Ma Blue and Tobly. Of course, of course. I'll wait as long as you need. Ma Blue. Sorry to delay you, but we were able to discover the origins of Kryle's earring. Kryle, is that so? Alphino, you said before that it gained popularity in Yogg-Turul as a protective ward for travelers, correct? Mamblu, that's right. We tracked down the elderly merchant to whom first sales are attributed. According to him, the design imitates an accessory worn by a foreign mage he met at a market some 20 years ago. Little did he know that charming taste of salt would prove to be a commercial triumph. Kryle. A foreign mage wearing this earring could only be grandfather. Did the merchant happen to mention which market? Tobly. One in Yogg-Turul, to where it seems you are already bound. Kryle. What luck. Then I shall see my next clue once we arrive. I shall seek my next clue once we arrive. Is it mere coincidence that brought my grandfather here, or grandfather? Alize, yet another discovery to look forward to. Kryle. Thank you both for coming all this way. Mablu. Anything for the third promise. Good luck with the rest of the rite. Wuklamat. Thanks. I won't let you down. I've just got to board this dirigible and I'm as good as there. Dirigible attendant. Last call for passengers to Yogg-Turul. Mablu. I really hope she wins. Tobly. Yogg-Turul will test her mettle, without a doubt. The next Dawn servant must be willing to bear the full weight of this nation's history, no matter how heavy it may be.
The fierce Chapral hunters who laid claim to this land call it the Azure Forest, Yogg-Turul. Battered by meteors in ancient times and colored mesmerizing shades of blue and green by nature, it is easy to understand why the place is so named. It is here, where the Chapral and Mamulja once battled for dominance, that the right of succession would reach its climax.
Are you all right?
I've never been good with heights.
The vegetation is far denser than in Kozamauka.
Kozamauka. Kozamauka. Kozamauka. Kozamauka.
I suggest you pay more attention to the ground, unless you want to walk straight into a cenote.
Cenote.
A natural underground reservoir of water such as occurs in the limestone of Yucatan, Mexico. A deep natural well or sinkhole formed by the collapse of surface limestone that exposes groundwater underneath and sometimes used by the ancient Mayans for sacrificial offerings.
Cenote.
A cenote?
Sinkholes filled with rain and groundwater. Many meteors fell here long ago, it is said, and after they struck the Earth, it became susceptible to erosion. Deep as some of the pits are, you'll not climb out in a hurry should you take a tumble. So, don't take a tumble.
It was one time.
Is the Shabral community depicted in the Lay of Repast close by?
She took a tumble?
Aye. We need but follow the path a short way west.
Right. I can't stand here with my knees knocking forever. Let's get going.
Alphino. Well, that journey was delightful. The wind was fair, and the vessel hardly rocked at all. Cryle? I can hardly fathom how difficult travel must have been before the second promise introduced dirigibles. Can you imagine having to walk all this way? Alizé. Worry not, Cryle and I will ensure our promise doesn't wind up at the bottom of one of these cenotes. Uklamat. Would it kill Aaronville to give me the benefit of the doubt? Or the benefit of a second chance? Aaronville. When thicker vegetation comes, with thicker vegetation comes reduced visibility. I advise you to keep someone in sight at all times. Juggles. Olgar. This here dirigible flies between Yaktel and Tuliolo. Oops. Thanks to the technology Corner brought back from beyond the salt, we've established a route that goes over the dense forests of this region. It's only been 3 years since the dirigibles were built, but I can't imagine life without them. If you're keen to soar through the skies, just ask the landing attendant. Alphino, is that Ikbraj over there, I wonder? Alizé, take care not to get separated. I'd hate to lose you to this rampant undergrowth. Lamats. See, no tumbles, thanks to Kryl and Alizé, but it still counts. Kryl, for all of Erenville's insistence, I have yet to discover anything particularly blue about this forest. Erenville. Good, everyone's accounted for. Ikbraj is up ahead. Let's be on our way. Alizé, just so you know, I shall be very cross if you push me. No fucking way. Uklamat. Ha! I've fallen into high tide harbor enough times to be a professional diver. There's no way I'd fall into something like this on accident. Kryl, are all cenotes this deep, I wonder? Erenville. What's so blue about this forest? You'll see. Alphino, Erenville was not exaggerating about the cenotes. It would be a grueling ordeal to climb out of one. Erenville. Well, thankfully we made it here without incident. Let's not dally any longer. Destination. Right. Alphino, are we ready to proceed? I am eager to learn more about Ikbraj and Gibral customs. Erenville, we should press on. The other candidates may be well ahead of us. Village of the Huns. Uklamat's attention is divided between the perilously deep cenote and Ikraj. Uklamat, ready to head on in. Alphino, our first task should be finding the Elector. Hopefully our relative tardiness will not reflect poorly upon us. Gentle villager. The third promise and her retinue, I presume? Uklamat, you presume right. I seek the Dawn Servant's Elector. Gentle villager, then come and join us in the Garden of the Stars at the village center. Everyone is waiting for you. Uklamat, everyone? Kryl, and who might that be? Alphino, there is but one way to find out. Come, let us follow.
At last, we are graced by the presence of the third promise.
If I'd known we'd be waiting on your mangy hide, I wouldn't have bothered with Ligarmanda in the first place.
You self-serving piece of weaver dung! Do you have any idea how many could have been hurt?
Now that we are assembled, let us begin. My name is Hunmuruk. As Sibrash Rash, I have the honor of serving as Elector on behalf of my people.
Unmuruk, Jibraj Raj. Jibraj Raj. Unmuruk, Jibraj Raj.
As all four claimants must be present for this feat, we have eagerly awaited your arrival. Third promise, if you would please join us. Thus far, you have faced each other as rivals. The feat of repast, however, will test your cooperation. You must complete this challenge in teams of 2.
What? You expect us to work with one of these weaklings?
Be warned, only the triumphant team will receive keystones. I advise you to cooperate with your partner. Teams will be decided by lots. Those who draw the same color will be paired accordingly.
'Twell forbid Wuklamat is paired with Bakul Jaja. After all he's put her through, I wouldn't blame her if she did something rash. I might even help.
Claimants, please present your colors. I have red. Blue. On separate teams, then. And the rest?
Red. Which means...
Together again, as fate would have it.
Victory's as good as ours.
With our claimants thus paired, so too is their opposition.
Not the one-head.
Listen well, for the trial that awaits you is as follows. Each team is to prepare a sample of traditional Shebrol cuisine. Shibruk Pibil.
And now we must cook. Another ludicrous feat.
So it might seem, but there's bound to be deeper meaning to it.
Agreed. Given that the very future of our nation is at stake, all parts of this rite must have significance.
Our promises have grown rather promising, wouldn't you say? Indeed. If I were to guess at the significance of the feat, few things reflect the history and development of a culture so clearly as its culinary traditions.
The variety of stewed dishes in Garlean cuisine bespeaks their agricultural roots and cold climes, true.
The peoples we've met on our journey, they've all had different practices involving food and drink. The Hanu replenish their magical energies with reeds, while the Pelu have turned their fondness of beverages into a living. So basically, to know a people's cuisine is to know something of their ways.
With each feat, we have deepened our familiarity with a given community's history and culture. Is this what Father intended for us all along? But a leader with his vision must see that the past doesn't hold the answers we need. It is through embracing innovation, not adhering to tradition, that we will usher Tuli Yolal onto a more prosperous future. The rules are simple. The first team to prepare and partake of satisfactory Shibruk Bivil will be deemed victorious. You will be judged by your sample's taste and appearance, as well as your adherence to appropriate cooking techniques. Kitchens have been made available for your use. Note that you may be asked to retry should your dish fail to pass muster. Let the feat of repast begin.
I've never actually heard of Shibruk Bibil before. What's it like, I wonder?
Wilclamant. I consider myself a connoisseur of all things tasty in Tirali. This is the first I've heard of Shibruk Bibil. Erinville. The first promise and Bakul Jaja are formidable on the field, but in the kitchen, I think the odds are in our favor. Kryl. Only 2 claimants can receive keystones from this feat. Intimidating, perhaps, but irrelevant. We shall prevail. Alphino. The second promise will no doubt have thoughts on how best to proceed. Let us ask for his perspective. Alizé. Do you suppose the first promising Bakul Jaja will wear matching aprons? I dearly hope so. Thancred. As much as I would have loved to defeat you in an all-stakes culinary battle, I couldn't have asked for better allies. Urianche. For the pairings to be thus decided, the stars align for us indeed. Fauna. How fortunate that this feat's unique stipulations have frustrated Bakul Jaja's attempts to delay us. Wilclamant. Serves him right. That's what he gets for endangering my people with his schemes. Why doesn't he just compete fairly? He's plenty strong, and obviously has a mind for strategy, twisted though it may be. I'll never understand him. Kona. Putting aside our competition for the moment, allow me to express how glad I am for this opportunity to work together. As I see it, our team possesses a distinct advantage. Wilclamant. Of course we do. Any team I am on is bound to succeed. Connor. Precisely. Erinville. You mean we have an advantage in numbers, yes? Our competition has a team of 6. The 2 claimants, Cyrilja and Bakul Jaja's lackey. Our competition has a team of 6, the 2 claimants, Cyrilja and Bakul Jaja's lackeys. Whereas we are a team of 9. That's 3 more people we can mobilize. Alphino, with the task suitably delegated, it should be a brisk affair to learn the recipe and assemble necessary ingredients. Wilclamant, too easy. Kryl, well, we mustn't be overconfident, lest we make a careless mistake that could have been easily avoided. Kona. Our first order of business should be determining the recipe for Shibruk Bibil. We can hardly gather ingredients for a dish we know nothing about. Given the nature of this feat, asking for answers directly may prove less effective than simply observing the daily habits of the Jibral people. Let us gather here once we have seen what clues this village has to offer. Unmuruk. You may make use of the kitchens at any time. I look forward to tasting your Jibruk Pibil. Brook Akko. The Garden of the Stars is a gathering place of sorts. Everyone in Ikbraj comes here to gaze at the night sky and hear tales about the stars. I imagine it will become even more lively after the changes made for the rites of succession. There's a kitchen now, after all. Nothing brings people together like good food and good stories. Bowl leaves. We'll need to shore up our supplies soon. When we do, you're welcome to any firewood you need. It belongs to everyone after all. Luxum. The woods are peaceful now, but 80 years ago, this place bore many terrible scars of war. Ikbraj, standing on the edge of a cenote in the midst of dense forest, the Gibral's home village has a clearing open to the sky for stargazing. The name of the settlement means Red Braj, a fierce beast related to the coral, and this bold shade is painted liberally upon the walls of their wooden dwellings. Light-hearted lady. This should be all I need. A number of spices, some entirely unfamiliar to you, are nestled in a basket. Light-hearted lady. That one's called akiote. We mostly use it to add a bit of color to our most popular cuisine, but its medicinal benefits are significant as well. Tiast, say. The food ain't ready yet, you hear? Oh, you aren't here for that? Apologies. I get people breathing down my neck constantly, like they don't realize a proper meal takes time. Tevu. The dirigibles have brought many visitors from Tuliolal, and I welcome them with open arms. I'm always eager to share our traditional weaving and food with new faces. Raul Waruk, what can I do for you, miss? We just received the delivery, so my wares are available to all who can offer me gemstones. Fuck, too far away. It's weird. Tiet. Cat. Every life that we vipers take is precious. It's our responsibility to use every part of the animals we hunt. Flesh and bone, blood and sinew. Provided they aren't riddled with corruption, that is. Living so deep in the forest, we are dependent on its blessings to survive. We try to never forget the debt of gratitude we owe, and strive to live in harmony with our surroundings. Cheerful cook. Hehe, what fun this is. An unusually colored banana peel has been neatly arranged on the ground, which appears to be smoking. Cheerful cook. Oh no, it appears I've gone and dropped my Jatika banana peel. I could barely see it for all the steam issuing from my underground oven. Ah, there's nothing like enjoying a tasty banana while you use the leaves in your cooking. Thanks, man. Hehe, what fun this is. Smoke a banana. Starting in half an hour, I think. Oh, it's 9:30. Okay, 1 hour from now. Okay, this is where we came in. Brook Inen. Welcome, traveler. It seems you've come a long way, so if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Tell me about... Oh, what kind of place is this? Why, this is Ikbraj. It is the home of the Gibral, who trace their lineage back to the Braj, mightiest of the woods creatures. And hold on. This shit's getting annoying. Okay, Brooklyn and welcome traveler. It seems you've come a long way, so if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. What kind of place is this? Why, this is Ikbraj. It is the home of the Jibral, who trace their lineage back to the Braj, mightiest of the wood's creatures. Nigh on 80 years ago, our long war with the Mamulja was brought to an end thanks to the intervention of the Dawn Servants. Since then, we have lived our days in peace, availing ourselves of the forest's many blessings. I think I know why you've come here. The right of succession, yes? Although your time here may be short, I hope you remember our home fondly. Tell me about yourself. See the buildings around here? I painted them. Everyone knows that when searching for Ikbraj, you look for the red among the green. It helps us find our village no matter how far into the forest we wander. Every time I apply a fresh coat of paint to a building, I give a prayer that none shall lose their way. Hubigo Lancer. So much for our plan. Hubigo Guardian. We ought to cut our losses and head to Mamook. This feat is nothing but a fool's errand. Hubigo Lancer, you're the fool if you think he won't tan our hides for leather. We dare to return without enough keystones. Besides, we've taken from the house cat before. How difficult could a second time be? Well, what are you looking at, salt liquor? Mind your own business. Ikbraj. The fuck? Tiatsoj. We've named ourselves after the Braj, who rule over the forest. A fitting title for those who look over the woods and its creatures. Fastidious fellow. The recipe for Jibruk Bivil? I wish I could tell you, friend. A dish so delicious is meant to be shared. Alas, we are forbidden from divulging anything. Orders from Hunmuruk himself. But your mentioning it has given me a fierce craving. I only hope there's still Ibruk to be had at market. Wink. I was simply thinking aloud about my next meal. No harm in that. Bolinen. Our knowledge of weaving has been passed down through generations, and I'm honored to be tasked with teaching it to today's younglings. Uklama. Sorry, I'm back. Kona. What did we discover about Jibruk Pibil? Alphino. True to your prediction, the villagers were forbidden from educating us directly. However, many were still preparing it as one might a staple dish. An observation of their techniques yielded clues enough. Kryl. A lady blending local herbs and spices was only too happy to describe the ones I didn't recognize, while neither confirming nor denying any relation to Jibruk Pibil. But one in particular she attributed to all common Gibral dishes. Akiote, she called it. Kona. I see. Then if Jibruk Pibil is indeed a dish as ubiquitous as Alphino claims, we have confirmed our first ingredients. Uriange. Meanwhile, I did observe a cook burying bundles wrapped in the leaf of najul or banana in certain localities. It would seem the use of subterranean ovens is commonplace. Uklamat, I saw the same. I think we all know what's inside those bundles then, don't we? What will you say? He broke, without a doubt. A sizzling slab of beef that smelled so good I could practically taste it. The squeaky flesh of a bipedal fish. I don't know, he broke without a doubt. Whatever. Kona. As would be expected of a dish called Jibruk Pibil. Indeed. So, to summarize, the dish is one of Ibruk, flavored with a combination of spices that includes akiote and steamed underground within najul, or banana leaves. Alphino, given our assumptions are correct, we must now learn where and how to procure our ingredients. Erenville, as a staple cuisine, its ingredients would be close at hand, which is why Thancred and I scouted surrounding forests while you all were exploring the village. Between the local vegetation and wild Ibruk, we should have everything we need in regards to meat and spices. Uklama, leave it to a master cleaner. Kona. With that, we should next divvy up our tasks. While some gather ingredients, others should make ready the kitchen. Kryl. I can help prepare the kitchen. The screenshot of that's funny. Alphino. Permit me to assist as well. Our ovens will doubtless require firewood, and I have some experience in its gathering. Uriange, I too should be glad to volunteer mine aid. You look so tan. Thancred. Then the rest of us will gather ingredients. I can make quick work of the spices and herbs myself. Erenville, I am happy to lead someone to a suitable Ibruk, if they will perform the requisite deed. Alize? Kona. As for the najul leaves, I believe I am capable of acquiring that much on my own. Erenville, be warned, you won't find najul in these parts. They only grow in the Jatika heartland, forests far below these. Kona. Such an excursion may be time-consuming. Perhaps we ought to try bartering first. This feat encourages our communication with the locals, after all. Lamachi, Evre, if you would accompany me on my errand. Wuklamat, no better way to whet my appetite. Corner. Good. Let us be about our tasks then. Corner. Lamachi had no specific task assigned to her, so I had her accompany me. No more, no less. Wuklamat, come on, let's go and get those Najul leaves. The sooner we do, the sooner we can eat. Spiced brook wrapped in Najul leaves? That sounds like a winning combination to me. A history of violence. Corner has the look of a man intent on finding bananas. Corner. Let us see if there are Najul leaves to be had in town. Perhaps the cook Oriange mentioned might be persuaded to spare us a few. The earth here is indeed fashioned into an oven of sorts. Fascinating. Wuklamat. An underground oven. This must be the cook Oriange was talking about. Cheerful cook. Oh, hello again. Did you need something? Najul leaves. For purposes other than Jibruk Vibil, naturally. Unfortunately, I've just used up my last. You'll have to travel to the lower forests for more. Kolmajik Grove is the source of the finest Najul leaves you'll find. Wild variants you sometimes see in the city markets can't compare. Corner. I see. I had hoped to avoid such a lengthy venture, but if there's no other way to obtain our ingredient than to the Jatika heartland, we shall go. Unmuruk. Allow me to save you the trip. Traveling there requires that you go through the Inbeck Traverse. Inbeck Traverse. Traveling there requires that you go through the Inbeck Traverse, but it has caved in due to the recent storm, I expect. Wuklamat. What? But that means we can't get our Najul leaves. Corner. But we can, can't we? If there were no other way of procuring them, you would have suspended this feat, or else altered its objective. Unmu, Rook. Perhaps. Anyway, I apologize for the interruption, but having overheard your conversation, I felt compelled to chime in. Wuklamat, that's very kind of you. Any last minute advice you'd be willing to share? Unmuruk. Only to undertake the fate of repast with an empty stomach. You may find Jibruk Bibil to be a delicious but daunting dish to finish. Wuklamat. Heh, can't wait. Still, if there are no leaves here, and we can't travel for more, how are we supposed to gather all our ingredients? Kona. These feats are meant to deepen our understanding of the peoples and cultures of Tuliolal. So perhaps there is something about Shirokpivil that we have yet to learn. Something of significance other than its recipe or ingredients. Oklamat. Oh, I see. Like who was the first to make it. It's history, that sort of thing. Cheerful cook. If it's Yaktel's history you're interested in, you should start with the old war. Uklamat. Between the Jibral and the Mumulj, right? Cheerful cook. These forests have borne witness to centuries of warfare, the evidence of which remains a scar upon the earth. To know the end of that bloodshed is to know Jirokwibil. Uklama. Huh? What does steamed Ibruk have to do with bloodshed? Kona. Precisely the question we must answer. Vexing though such a detour may seem, I can think of no other way to approach this feat. Cheerful cook. In that case, you may wish to visit the site of a settlement ruined by the war, the village of Ilion Aso. It lies a short distance to the east. Uklamat, the village of Ilion Aso. Understood. Thank you for the help. Come, let's go and see this place. Cheerful cook. I was told not to talk about Jiruk Pivil, the history of our people and the important developments therein are another matter. Everyone knows there was a war between the Mulja and Jibral, but I may have forgotten some of the details. Kona, the village of Ildionasol must be further east. Let us continue with haste. For all we know, our competitors may be on our heels. Cenote. 15th. Kona. This place feels forgotten by time. Uklama. So, this is the village of Ilyona So, or what's left of it. Ukevu. It was a place of light and life. My great-grandfather called it home, in fact. Uklama. Ukevu. I didn't know you were in Yaktel. Ukevu. I was picking up lumber from Ikbraj when I heard the third promise was on her way to this site of deep historical significance. I immediately saw another opportunity to be of service, and so followed you here. Uklaman. Ukevu is a shipwright who came to our aid during the Feat of Reeds. Ukevu. A pleasure. You are a member of the Third Promise's retinue, I presume? Kona. For the moment, I suppose I am. My name is Kona. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Ukevu. Kona. Now that's a good name. A familiar name. Where have I heard? Yeah, here we go. Kona? As in the second promise of Tuliyola? To think that I address the Dawn Servant's own son as some common retainer. Such disrespect cannot be excused. Please take up your gun and... Uklamat. Oh, come on, not this again. Kona. I take no offense, so please do not dwell on it. Ukevu. Alright then, I shan't dwell on it. Uklama. And right on cue. At least he's consistent. Ukevu. I understand you wish to learn about Jibruk Ibil. While I am forbidden by the Jibra Raj to divulge any information regarding its preparation, I would be happy to share what I know of Yaktel's history. Uklamat. We'd appreciate that. Ukevu. In its most basic sense, the conflict between the Jibral and Mamulja was one of land. The Mamulja live in the lower forest, where the thick canopy obscures the sun and the soil is unforgiving to crops. This drove them to covet the upper forest, the home of the Jibral, and they launched a determined campaign to seize it for themselves. Yet, advantage ever favors higher ground, and the Jibral forces held the upper hand against the invaders, rebuffing them time and again. Kona. But as the state of this village would attest, the tide eventually turned. What brought it about? Ukevu. Something you know all too well. Blessed siblings. You must understand, the Mamulja were once a people as much at war with themselves as they were with others. The Hubigo, Buniwa, and Dobro each sought to assert dominance over the others, even as they engaged in the Gibral in battle. In an effort to strengthen bonds and discourage infighting, Hubigo and Buniwa leaders arranged a marriage between their children. In an effort to strengthen bonds and discourage infighting, Hubigo and Buniwa leaders arranged a marriage between their children. However, this political measure altered the course of history in ways no one could have ever imagined. Hubigo and Buniwa. It was long believed that partners of differing clans could not have children together. But then it happened. A child arrived who shared the blood of Hubigo and Buniwa both, a two-headed Mamulja. Blessed with tremendous physical strength and magical prowess, he grew into a mighty warrior before eventually arising as the first autarch, ruler of all three clans. Kona. Such qualities would dispose anyone to leadership, character notwithstanding. Bukavu. Under the autarch's rule, the newly united Mamulja became a force to be feared, and the war soon came to a head. I think it best you see the results firsthand. Let us visit another battlefield from that time, and there I shall continue the tale. This is close. Uklama. What happened here? Kona? By the 12.
This is where most battles were fought between the Shabral and Mamulja, the Shobrit Cinderfield.
Shobrit Cinderfield. Shabral and Mamulja. Shobrit Cinderfield.
A field of cinders, indeed. How fierce their clashes must have been. The war over these lands began after the Yokui's departure some 500 years ago.
500 years.
And for 4 centuries thereafter, the two enemies repaid violence with violence. A constant stream of minor skirmishes, punctuated by massive slaughter. Until Father ended their endless conflict 80 years ago. Accompanied by a retinue of only 6, the Dawn Servant opposed both armies and brought the fighting to a standstill.
First they sealed Valley Armanda at full strength, and now this.
It was during this armistice that both sides gathered for negotiations at the Dawn Servant's behest.
For too long, you have been bound by your ancestors' violent legacy. It is past time you broke free of it.
Tell that to the Scale Scum! We fight to protect what is rightfully ours! If not for their greed, we'd be living in peace!
Puff your tails and scurry off, then! Cowards like you ill-deserve the bounty of this forest.
Even should one of you succeed in vanquishing the other, your triumph will last only until a new invader arrives.
Finally heard him talk. Core 4 lore? Core 4 lore? Core 4.
Tell me, do you know of the vast continent that lies far to the east, where numerous nations vie for dominance? You do not. And why should you? Affairs beyond the salt we have no intention to cross are of no consequence to us. Not until those affairs come to Tural, like our honored visitor here.
He's from across the ocean.
I've been to the ocean before, and it's nothing but water farther than the eye can see. What sort of vessel could possibly reach its end?
That such technology exists is indisputable, as is foreign powers' awareness of Tural. If any such country were to develop a taste for Turali soil and bring to bear the might of innovations we can only imagine, what do you suppose happens then? You do not know the warlords of the East, but you know that if they came, they would not settle for a single forest. By joining hands, we might create a unified front, an alliance capable of repelling them or any other foe. There is no greater proof of these than my companions and I. Alone we are weak, but together we triumphed over Valigarmanda.
What? You defeated the Sky Ruin? I'd take you for a liar if the sting of our own defeat wasn't still fresh.
Their coordination was indeed impressive. How the Pelu stymied our efforts to cripple the Yokui's legs and defend our ballistas. And when we withdrew to strike again from a distance, the Hanu called the winds to make our arrows miss their marks. In seeking to exploit their weaknesses, we only subjected ourselves to their strengths.
Those strengths are born of cooperation. The guiding principle of the nation we envision.
But our feud has lasted for centuries. How do you expect us to join hands now?
Ha ha! Give us an evening to convince you.
And so began that legendary banquet. One would not expect sworn enemies to abruptly drink to each other's health, and, indeed, a tense silence hung over the venue. But then, the Dawn servant called for the exchange of traditional cuisine. So it was that the Mamulja partook of spiced meat, and the Chebral steamed Najul. Before long, delight manifested upon the faces of those present, each side impressed by the other's dish. Seeing this, the Dawn servant laughed and declared once more, their flavors, he said, would be even better combined, and he proceeded to help them prepare the new creation.
That's Shibruk Pibil, I'd wager.
It is a marriage of Chebral and Mamulja cultures, and proof of their newfound cooperation. The Dawn servant had asked for a single evening, but the feasting is said to have lasted 3 days and 3 nights. So delicious was their repast. In the end, a peace accord was reached, and the Dawn Servant's words at that time still illuminate our way forward.
Ignorance begets a strife. Understanding begets fellowship.
Sorry. It's just to think that he ended an age-old conflict with food. It's all so absurd. It's somehow so very papa, I couldn't help but laugh.
Ignorance begets strife. Understanding begets fellowship.
Now then, I trust you understand the significance of Shibruk Pibil and the history it has written.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing the story with us. What's wrong? Someone was there, you say?
Perhaps our competition is cooking up some scheme or another.
Something bitter and half-baked, no doubt.
Wukavu. I hope I have been of sufficient service to the third promise. Kona. I never imagined our father was instrumental to Shibruk Pibil's invention. Uklamat. Papa really did live up to his words. He traveled the land and learned about our people's myriad cultures. And we are doing the same now. It's thanks to Wukavu that we were able to learn this forest's history. That's twice now that he's helped us. To think that we might never have met him if we hadn't thought to fix the float. Wukavu. Same line. Oh no. The feet of repast. Bananas still weigh heavily upon Kona's mind. Kona, Wukavu has given us valuable insight into the origins of Shibruk Pibil. However, we are still no closer to procuring the necessary natural leaves. Unless... Tell me, was that historic feast commemorated in some fashion? With a monument, for instance? Wukavu, indeed it was. Allow me to show you. Kona. It is only speculation, but I dare to hope. Uclemat. What does Kona want with the monument? Wukavu. Here it is. Offered up by the two factions, these weapons symbolize their vow that they would never again raise arms against each other. Kona. Since this feat demands a journey through history, I thought it only logical that a monument like this might steer us true. Especially one at the heart of so significant a battlefield. Namachi, Evre, would you help me search this area for clues? Tell me if anything catches your eye. Uclemat, sure thing. Kona, look here, this soil has been recently overturned. Uclemat. Ooh, someone buried a box. Kona. Well. I would have been satisfied to find only a hint. But here they are, fresh jewel leaves. Unmuruk's doing, I'd wager. Unmuruk's doing, I'd wager. There's a poetry in hiding them on this battlefield, given that it was central to the war they helped end. Uclemat. Heh. So he planned all this from the start. Thank you again, Wukavu. We wouldn't have found these leaves without your help. Wukavu. It was my honor to render assistance. And, with apologies to present company, allow me to offer my encouragement as well, third promise. Ever since I witnessed your performance in the Feat of Reeds, I have been certain that you are the claimant most worthy of leading our nation. All devised solutions to the Hanu's ailing crops, but you alone sought to know their culture and revive Ihihana, even if it seemed unrelated to your task. In my humble opinion, no one cares more for the people of Tuliolal and what they hold dear. Should you again require the historical musings of an old shipwright, I am ever at your service. For now, I take my leave. Kona, I cannot argue with that. We have what we need. Let us return to Ikbraj. Oh, for fuck's sake. Damn maintenance. GG.